What is going on today, guys? My name's Alex. Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a special video with the release of the Ram 2500 Rebel HD with the available 6.7 Cummins, which is pretty freaking cool. I have a lot to say about this, as you guys may imagine, being an owner of a 2022 Ram 2500 Power Wagon. So stay tuned. I'm pretty excited to talk about this and what it's going to mean to the Ram HD lineup. So we're out here in beautiful New Brunswick. Really not anything here. I figured I'd take the truck down some trails here. Nothing crazy, but you know, it's good to get out kind of in the middle of nowhere. And I figured this would be a good place to film this video because we're talking about two off-road HD trucks. So the first video I saw were the guys at TFL. Amazing guys. They do such a good job. It's kind of like your dream job, what they do. But watched their video, and the first thing I thought of was, wow, this thing looks identical to the Power Wagon, except for that sexy Cummins badge on the side. So I genuinely think this is a brilliant move by Ram. It is a wonderful, wonderful idea, because I think the Power Wagon was always kind of an outlier when it came to the 2500 lineup. And I think the fact that the Power Wagon is such a different truck than a normal 2500, it allowed space for something exactly like the Rebel HD, something that kind of fits between the Power Wagon and a normal four-wheel drive Ram 2500. For years we kept hearing people kind of complaining that they would love to own the Power Wagon, except it didn't come with the Cummins, which was a big detractor for a lot of people, and I can't necessarily fault them for that. So when I heard the announcement of the Rebel, I was really excited, because obviously it is going to come with the Cummins, and I think, like I said, it's going to be that perfect kind of in-between truck where you sprinkle in some off-road components of the Power Wagon, which they have done, and obviously you maintain a lot of that towing and nice payload that a normal 2500 would normally have. So I think they may have a really good winning combination, but let's dive into what exactly the off-road specs are for the new Rebel HD. So I'll jump right into the mechanical specs of the new HD Rebel, and then I'll compare it to the Power Wagon, and I'll also compare it to just the off-road package that you can get with any Ram 2500, which I think is interesting. The Ram Rebel is going to come with the 6.4 HEMI as the standard option for the engine. Obviously you can get the 6.7 Cummins if you want it, but that is going to be the engine option that comes standard. Number two is the rear differential. You are going to get a helical style, torsion style, limited slip rear differential with an electric locker in it. So that's gonna be pretty cool. I believe you're probably gonna get the exact same differential that's in the Power Wagon. That would just be my guess. However, there are some leaked emails that came out, I think in June, talking about how the Rebel was optioned with the 373 gears, but I don't think there's an electric locker option for the 373s that we know of. I could be wrong. Someone let me know if I'm wrong, but I believe the Rebel will come with 410 gears. Just my guess. Number three is skid plates. The Ram Rebel HD is going to come with a full set of skid plates. I'm also going to guess it's going to be the exact same set that come with the Power Wagon. That would just make sense. Number four, you're going to get some Bilstein off-road shocks. Now, these are nothing new. In fact, this truck right here has those Bilstein off-road shocks. With the Ram Rebel HD, you will get those as well. Number five is tires. You are going to get some Wrangler Duratrac all-terrain tires. In fact, once again, they are the exact same tire that is on the Power Wagon and that you get on the 1500 Rebel, except for one thing. This truck is going to release with 20-inch rims. I'm having a hard time understanding why they would do that, because it's marketed as an off-road truck, and 20-inch rims with such a small profile of tire is just, it's really not that off-roady. And I understand a lot of people are just going to be driving the mall with this truck, but still, you know, even the 1500 Rebel doesn't even come with 20-inch rims. I believe they're 18 inches. But that being said, apparently later on there will be an 18-inch rim available with a different tire setup. I find this interesting. I have a sneaky suspicion that Ram is playing with the idea that they're going to have 35-inch tires on the Rebel. Now with the 20-inch rim that it's going to be releasing with, it's only a 33-inch tire, which is the same as the Power Wagon, comes with a 33-inch tire. I really think that Ram is considering the idea because the tremor, the Ford Tremor Super Duty, comes with 35-inch tires, and it really gives that truck a nice little profile. So I would be very curious if that's what Ram is waiting for. The HD Rebel is going to come with hill descent, which again is in the Power Wagon. I actually just used it today. It's a cool little feature, works really well, so that's always good to have as well. Now the last thing that the Ram Rebel could come with is the winch. I say could because technically it can be optioned with the winch, but only with the 6.4 HEMI. If you guys want the Cummins in your Ram Rebel, you are not getting that winch, unfortunately. Now the HD Rebel is going to be boasting about just under 17,000 pounds of towing. I believe it's 16,800 pounds, just right around there, which is really where this HD Rebel is going to shine over the old Power Wagon, is the towing and the payload. So yeah, towing almost 17,000 pounds, which is a huge improvement over the Power Wagon, which is just under 11,000 pounds. Now, again, that is with the Cummins option. We don't know the actual spec for towing with the HEMI, but I would imagine it's gonna be right around 14,000 pounds. That'd be my guess. And then payload is gonna be just about 3,100 pounds. Now that is with the HEMI engine. Once again, we don't know the actual payload spec with the Cummins because, as most of you guys may or may not know, the Cummins is a lot heavier. It's about 1,000 pounds heavier than the 6.4. So that's going to dramatically decrease the payload of the truck. I would guess with the Cummins optioned out in the HD Rebel, you're probably looking at like 2,300 pounds of payload. So still quite a bit more over the Power Wagon, which sits around 1,500 pounds, or at least mine does. But yes, towing and payload is a huge differentiating factor between the Power Wagon and the HD Rebel. So those are all the mechanical off-road goodies that I found about the HD Rebel. Obviously, I'm not down there in Texas to, you know, question the Ram guys myself, but you know, from reading all the articles and watching videos of guys down there, those are the mechanical things I picked up on. Now, the last thing they released was the price of the Ram Rebel HD, and for a lot of people, this is really where the rubber meets the road. The base price of the 2500 HD Rebel is going to start at $69,000, or roughly $94,000 Canadian. So that is a lot of money for a base truck, and here's what I think most people don't realize is that is not with the Cummins. The Cummins is not a standard engine, it's the 6.4 HEMI. If you want the Cummins, that's going to be an additional cost. So more likely, if you want a Cummins in the base model of the HD Rebel, you're going to be looking at $80,000 US for this truck, which quite frankly is a lot of money. Now, with the current Canadian exchange rate, that's going to be about $110,000 Canadian. Which is a lot of money for a HD Rebel. Now this is going to be just for my Canadian audience. If you guys want to skip ahead, you can, but I just want to talk about this. So the Canadian dollar is really bad right now. I think it's like 65 cents US, so it's pretty bad. But if we compare the actual US prices of truck into what they should be in Canadian dollar today, it's much, much higher. So for example, the base model Power Wagon in the US is $65,000. Now that should be 88 grand Canadian, or $84,000 Canadian. I'll put it on the screen, but right now the base model for the Power Wagon is only $72,000 Canadian. So unfortunately, I think what's going to happen is us Canadians, we're going to see the prices of trucks and vehicles in general just go through the roof, because at the moment, technically auto manufacturers are losing money because the Canadian dollar is so weak and they are selling these trucks and vehicles at such a low price in terms of when we compare it to the actual US market price. So what I'm saying is I don't think we will see the actual Ram Rebel HD with the Cummins be marketed at $110,000 Canadian right away, but be sure the price of those trucks are going to go up dramatically in Canada. I can almost bet on it. So as we continue throughout the video, I think that's the one thing I don't necessarily agree with Ram is the actual price of the Ram Rebel. But yeah, so for example, this Power Wagon I bought for $73,000 Canadian less than a year ago, actually. It's a 2022, brand new off the lot, and that's equivalent to just about $54,000 US. Now, you're telling me that a gas truck with the same engine, with actually less equipped options in terms of off-road ability, you know, is worth, I don't know, do the math on that, an extra 15 grand, you know, less than a year later. I find that hard to believe. So the price is a sticking point for me, no doubt, but let's continue on. What exactly is the difference between the Rebel and the Power Wagon when it comes to off-road ability? So let's dive into that. So the Power Wagon has every single option the Rebel has in terms of off-road ability, with addition to, first of all, it has the 17-inch rims with the option of B-lockers. I don't have that option, obviously, but you can get it. The Power Wagon also comes with a factory 2-inch lift. It comes with much softer suspension. It has a front locking differential. It has a disconnecting sway bar, as well as special Articulink lower control arms in the front end, which allow the front axle to articulate much greater than your standard Ram 2500. The winch comes standard with the truck. It's not an option, as well as having a low ratio transfer case, which is, you know, phenomenal for rock crawling and whatnot. The other thing that I think maybe is not actually on the spec sheet is the ride quality. So the Power Wagon with softer suspension is just gonna ride much smoother, especially when you're on, you know, trails like this here. It's just gonna not jar your face off, where if you guys know, you know, a, you know, normally stiffened 2500 suspension setup is just a very hard suspension, and it has to be, because you're supposed to be able to tow a lot of weight and put a lot of weight in the back of the truck. Now couple that with, you know, an extra 1,000 pounds over the front and 20-inch rims with very small profile tires, you know, the ride quality off-road of the Rebel, I believe, is going to be much worse than the Power Wagon. But, you know, it's give and take, right? You get a lot more towing ability if you can put up with having your face jarred off when you're off-road. But those are the major features the Power Wagon has, in addition to the Ram Rebel. Now, just finishing up comparing the Power Wagon to the Ram Rebel HD, I did read an article from Motor Trend, so a reputable source, talking about how the HD Rebel would also have the 2-inch factory lift that the Power Wagon has, as well as the front Articulink suspension that makes the axle articulate so well. And I hate to call it Motor Trend like this because, oh, again, I could be wrong, but I don't think that's true. That's the only source I heard saying that, and just judging by my experience, I don't think it's possible. I mean, anything's possible. Ram could have completely redesigned the Articulink suspension specifically for the Rebel truck and design it beefier, stronger, as well as still having a 2-inch lift and completely redesigning the suspension just for the Rebel, because, as we all know, the Power Wagon with its suspension setup cannot tow that much. So the Ram engineers would, in theory, have to completely redesign the Articulink suspension, which I just don't think they're willing to do for the Ram Rebel. I think maybe Motor Trend just had a quick take there and didn't really get into the fact. One of the main reasons why the Power Wagon has such a low tow rating is because of its height. They deem that if it's towing and how high it is, it could potentially become unstable with a load on it. The other big thing is the disconnecting sway bar. I just really don't think the Rebel is gonna come with a 2-inch lift, because I think that would really just, you know, nerf the towing number, and I don't think Ram wants that. So Motor Trend, I think you're wrong on this one, but let me know what you guys think. I also thought I would talk about the Ram 2500 off-road package, because as I got diving into the articles talking about, you know, the off-road features of the Ram Rebel, I started thinking, wow, this sounds very similar to the Ram off-road package you can get with the 2500. So let's dive in and actually compare the Ram Rebel versus just your standard Ram 2500 with an off-road package. Now with the Ram off-road package, you're gonna get hill descent, tow hooks, skid plates. You're gonna get a limited slip helical style, torsion style, limited slip differential, as well as Bilstein off-road shocks and some all-terrain tires. Now these tires are not gonna be Duratrax, but they are Firestone Transforce, which I heard guys online saying they weren't that good, but they are technically all-terrain tires. And I forgot to mention, you're also going to get the hill descent feature as well. That whole package is only, at least in 2022 here, $840 option for all of those things. Now, what is different between that and the Ram Rebel? Well, the Ram Rebel comes with a locking rear differential, as well as that helical style limited slip. Also coming with, like I just mentioned, better tires. You're gonna get the Wrangler Duratrax, which are gonna be much better tires than the Firestone Transforce. But still, I mean, that off-road package seems very similar to what the Rebel HD is in a sense, and it's only gonna be $840 more. And that package can be put on to any trim level on your Ram 2500. Any truck can have the off-road package. So I found that kind of interesting. It seems like the Rebel is actually much closer to what a Ram 2500 off-road package would be than the actual Power Wagon. And yes, the Ram Rebel can be optioned out with the winch, but I don't think many are going to come with the winch. And the fact that Ram is finally optioning the winch on a Ram Rebel, I feel like they're probably going to start optioning on basically any truck with a gas engine. That's just my opinion though. So here's why I think the Ram Rebel HD is not going to sell a lot of trucks with the 6.4 HEMI. If you are going to settle for a gas engine, the 6.4 HEMI, to me, if you're looking for an off-road truck like the Rebel is supposed to be advertised to, and the Power Wagon is a much more capable truck, and it's just, in obviously a little bias here, I think it is a better truck in terms of off-road ability if you're going to settle for a gas engine. Now, playing devil's advocate, I guess if you are looking for an off-road truck and you don't want to pay that, you know, diesel premium, the Rebel is going to be a good option for you. But I don't know, I'm a little bit confused why they price the Rebel so much higher than the Power Wagon, because in my eyes, yes, the towing and payload numbers are higher, but the Power Wagon comes with more equipment. So, you know, I wish they would have priced the Rebel, HD Rebel, a little bit lower than the Power Wagon. Then obviously when you option with the Cummins, it's gonna be a lot more money. That makes sense to me. And I'm predicting that the Ram Rebel with the HEMI option out as the engine is going to have a max towing capacity right around 14,000 pounds. We don't know yet for sure, but the Power Wagon has a max towing capacity of just under 11,000. So I mean, if you need those extra 3,000 pounds, yes, the Rebel will give it to you. But you know, I still have a hard time with how high that Rebel is priced. I guess we don't know what interior wise it's going to come with as the base model. The Power Wagon doesn't come with the 12-inch screen as a base. So, you know, I guess there's a lot of stuff to still come out, but just looking at it from abroad right now, I don't think they're going to sell a lot of gas engines. Now on the flip side, I think the HD Rebel with the diesels are going to sell like freaking hotcakes. I think they're going to sell a lot of those trucks. You know, the truck is beautiful. It's got the new hood, the sport hood. It's got the new mirrors on it. It looks really, really good. And I think the fact that it comes with the Cummins, people just get so excited about that stuff. And, you know, I think Ram is maybe playing on that a little bit, playing on the Rebel name, playing on the looks of the truck, because I think a lot of people just don't know about these trucks as much as maybe I do. And, you know, they just see a beautiful truck with the Cummins and it's, you know, marketed as off-road truck and people are just going to buy it. I think that's how it's going to go down. And I guess I can't really fault Ram for that. So I guess the question is, will I be looking at selling my Power Wagon for a 2023 Ram Rebel? And I think the answer is no. First off, I think I sold my soul a little bit when I bought this truck, and I don't really want to do that again. Secondly, I don't really tow that much, so I don't really need a diesel. And the advantage of owning a diesel with such high gas prices, or such high diesel prices, sorry, you know, it has kind of been minimized because of that. So there's that to factor in as well. And then the big one for me, like most people, is the money, right? It's a very expensive truck for what it is, in my opinion. Yes, it looks awesome. Yes, I'm sure there'll be cool technology in it. And that's all fun. But I think for me, as a diesel mechanic, I find the mechanical options much more interesting than, let's say, you know, a fully electronic dash or whatever. So that's just my opinion. I think I'm going to keep the Power Wagon. I like it for what it is. And even if I went last year to the dealer and there was a HD Rebel versus a Power Wagon, you know, I think the price itself would have been the deciding factor. I mean, I didn't even have in my budget to buy just a normal 2500 Cummins. And like I mentioned, this thing was like $54,000 US. So, you know, I wouldn't call it a affordable truck, but it was, you know, not necessarily bankrupting like a potential Rebel would be with the Cummins option. So that's my opinion. I would love to hear what you guys have to say about this. In general, I'm very happy for Ram. I think it's exactly what they needed to do. And I really like that they are still going after, you know, that off-road market with big HD trucks. I think it's just a really cool segment. Let me know what you guys think. I'm always interested in hearing your comments. But as always, if you did like the video, don't forget to leave that thumbs up. And if you like cool stuff like this, don't forget to subscribe. We got lots of cool stuff planned, and you know, love to have you guys on board. Anyways, enough of me. I gotta get back home. We're about an hour and a half in the bush here, and you know, the sun's going down. So I'll catch you on the next freaking video.